I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes. And you have to try to learn English. And you have to wait in line.
Wow.
Thank you for tuning in today. This is King, and today we are going to discuss the elephant in the room, which is illegal immigration. This is one of the biggest taboo topics in my community, and based on that video that you just saw, this is something that many presidents have done in the past. It's not a new thing. President Obama deported 3,000 illegal immigrants, and so did Clinton and Bush. It's not new at all. And yet people are quick to point fingers at President Trump for doing the same thing. The truth is, countries around the world have been deporting undocumented immigrants for decades. Middle East, Qatar, Dubai, Europe, all over. The Biden administration, on the other hand, opened the border wide, allowing all kinds of people, including criminals. Every country has immigration processes for a reason. Whether you're entering as a visitor or a student or seeking permanent residence or asylum, a visa is a privilege. It's not a right. That's a fact. I'm saying this as an immigrant myself. I want people to have the opportunity to come here and build better lives. Everyone is searching for greener pastures, but that doesn't mean we should guilt trip those of us who believe in the rule of the law. Entering a country illegally is an offense. It doesn't mean the individuals are bad people. It just means that they've broken the law, and the country has the right to protect its sovereignty. I remember as a young girl, my father kept a newspaper showing himself carrying a box on his head after Nigeria deported Cameroonians. Nigeria deported many Cameroonians in the 1980s, especially in 1983 and 1985, during mass expulsion of undocumented immigrants from across West Africa. At that time, Nigeria was facing economic challenges and high unemployment and blamed foreign nationals for taking jobs and contributing to social tensions. Millions were affected, but it caused diplomatic rifts in the region. At the end of the day, enforcing immigration laws is not about demonizing people. It's not. It's about maintaining order and fairness. Every country, every nation around the globe has the right to look after its own citizens. Now, talking about those illegal criminals that are being deported first, let's look at this video from an interview with Tucker Carlson and Nayib Bukele of El Salvador. Let's hear what he had to say about some of these gang members.
And we didn't have any civilian casualties.
And was everyone in the meeting comfortable with that?
Yes, yes. All my security cabinet are believers. They all believe in God. We're a secular country, of course, but we all believe in God, so yeah.
MS-13 is one of the major gangs.
And they are satanic also.
That was my question. So
Yes.
very
I'm
little.
sorry.
No, but I would hope you will explain it because very little has been written in the West about this.
They're satanic, yes.
But actually, literally, can you explain?
Well, they didn't start as a satanic organization. MS-13 started in Los Angeles, in the U.S., because Salvadorans weren't allowed to sell drugs by the Mexican gangs. So they created a gang that was called the 18th Street Gang, because they basically wanted to sell drugs in a street that was 18th Street over there. But then division started they started dividing themselves and started infighting, so they created the MS-13. And then MS-13 started outgrowing the other gangs, and they started exporting the organization to other parts of the U.S. And when Bill Clinton decided to deport those guys he didn't tell our government at the time, I'm deporting this criminal. They just, send them here. And they came, there were few, but unchecked. At the same time, some laws were passed to protect minors from imprisonment. And of course, the gangs used that to recruit 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. So at the beginning it was, some youth causing harm, assaulting, trying to control their territory, selling drugs, things that are bad, but probably not critical. But they grew, and they started controlling territories. A few years later, they were actually a huge international criminal organization that they have bases in Italy, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, the U.S. Basically, a lot of major cities in the U.S. will have strongholds of.
Right outside Washington, D.C.
Yes, of course. And you have in Long Island and
yes.
In L.A. It's a huge.
So in this video, we are watching some of those MS-13 guys being deported, and my goodness, look at how much security and how many soldiers, how many police officers they need to handle these guys. I don't know that any of you wants these people in your neighborhood. Do you want them in your neighborhood? How did they open the border like this? Wow, CNN is truly despicable. I mean, these people care more about gang members or illegals than Americans. So you have the president of El Salvador sitting right next to President Trump saying that he's not going to return that MS-13 gang member, Kilma Arrego. And just listen to the questions they're asking him.
But he was a member of MS-13, and he was.
1 second.
I support him.
Do you plan to ask him?
Let's hear the question from this very low-rated anchor at CB.
Thank you, President. Do you plan to ask President Bukele to help?
I like that he takes no prisoners. He's like low-rated anchor. These people, they are despicable. That's not journalism anymore. It's activism.
Return the man who your administration says was mistakenly deported. The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador?
Well, let me ask Pam, would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country. Right now, it was additional paperwork had needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. The Supreme Court ruled, President, that if, as El Salvador wants to return him, this is international matters, foreign affairs, if they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
So will you return him, President
And
Bukele?
you are doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. Could you just also respond to that question? Because, it's asked by CNN, and they always ask it with a slant, because they're totally slanted, because they don't know what's happening. That's why nobody's watching them. But would you answer that question also, please?
Yes, gladly. So, as Pam mentioned, there's an illegal alien from El Salvador. So, with respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador. So, it's very arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a starting point.
Disrespectful.
As two immigration courts found that he was a member of MS-13. When President Trump declared MS-13 to be a foreign terrorist organization, that meant that he was no longer eligible under federal law, which I'm sure you know, you're very familiar with the INA, that he was no longer eligible for any form of immigration relief in the United States. So he had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then, by a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the...
Yeah, that's mainstream media for you. They would just lie. I even checked in other media, and some of them, I believe it's ABC, was saying, "Oh, the president, El Salvadoran president, wants to return that MS-13 member, that Kilma Abrego, a person that was deported to El Salvador." Really? That's mainstream media for you. So the puppet masters have activated their little foot soldiers to drive their little psyop. Let's listen.
Hour with the chaos. The average American sees chaos. The American people see chaos.
It's total chaos. You brought chaos.
It's just complete chaos.
Unleashed an economic chaos.
They unleash chaos.
They are creating chaos.
This chaos.
There's too much chaos.
Total chaos.
That amidst the chaos,
We're going to see chaos.
After seeing all the chaos,
the chaos he has unleashed on America.
Continue to see the chaos. Economic chaos.
A lot more chaos.
Trump's chaos. This is chaos. With such chaos.
The chaos, because of this chaos. Chaos.
All of this chaos.
Uncertainty and chaos.
Given all that chaos.
When it's chaos.
All the chaos.
chaos and confusion grow.
It's more chaos, dysfunction.
The chaos is the purpose. The chaos is the goal.
It's chaos.
So it looks like when they got their little script from the puppet masters, one of them couldn't pronounce it properly, and she said chaos. Oh, goodness, mainstream media. Thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate you joining me today. If you found value in my video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Keep reading, keep listening, and most importantly, keep an open mind. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.
I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.